I know something that will wake your brain up better and faster than coffee. Yep, it's time to find your magnifying glass.
Oh my god.
Look at this picture attentively. What's wrong here? Each of these 4 people has a slice of pizza in their hands, but only 3 pieces are missing from the pizza box. You have 3 jars that are all mislabeled. One jar contains apples, another contains oranges, and the third jar contains a mixture of both apples and oranges. You are allowed to pick as many fruits as you want from each jar to fix the labels on them. What is the minimum number of fruits that you have to pick and from which jars to correctly label them?
Yeah!
Let's look at this scenario. You pick a fruit from the jar labeled apples and oranges, and you get an apple. That means that the jar should be labeled apples. Now, the jar labeled oranges has to be labeled apples and oranges. As it can't contain oranges, and we've already got the apples jar, a similar scenario applies if it's an orange you take out of the jar labeled apples and oranges. So, you just need to take one fruit from the jar, apples and oranges, to label all the jars correctly. A farmer once challenged an engineer, a physicist, and a mathematician to fence off the largest amount of area using the least amount of fence. The engineer shaped his fence like a large circle and said it was the most efficient way. The physicist made a long line and said that fencing off half of Earth was the best. The mathematician laughed at them and showed his design, which beat the others. What did he do? The mathematician made a small circular fence around himself and declared himself to be on the outside. Every day after work, Jack arrived at the train station at 5 p.m. His wife left home in her car to meet him there at exactly 5 p.m., picked him up, and drove him home. One day, Jack got to the station an hour early and started walking home. He was walking until his wife picked him up along the way. They got home 30 minutes earlier than usual. How long was he walking? The best way to think about this problem is to consider it from the perspective of the wife. Her round trip was decreased by 30 minutes, which means each leg of her trip was decreased by 15 minutes. It means that Jack must have been walking for 45 minutes. Logan is a special agent who's trying to catch a notorious villain. After long months of investigation, he finds the criminal's headquarters. But the door is locked, which is not a surprise really. Logan sees a screen next to the entrance. He touches it, and the display lights up. It must be a riddle. And our special agent needs to solve it to get inside. Add one line to make it right. 9.50 equals I-O-I-O-I-O. Logan cracks the puzzle in no time. What's the answer? $9.50 equals I-O-T-O-I-O.
Oh, yeah.
The door opens and the man steps into a dark corridor. After walking for some time, Logan notices another door. A code lock again. The man also spots a calendar hanging on the wall. At the bottom, there are several letters, M, F, W. After connecting the dots, the special agent figures out the code. What is it? It's 153. The letters stand for the days of the week: Monday, Friday, and Wednesday. Monday is the first day, Friday is the fifth, and Wednesday is the third one.
Oh, yeah.
Look at these two families. Which one is fake? What do you think? Well, the family on the right has weird dietary habits. They allow their son to eat the whole cake on his own. But maybe they just don't care about healthy eating. The family on the left, though, seems to be perfectly fine. But have you spotted a USB port covered by the necklace the mother of the family is wearing? She's a robot, and all this family thing is just a joke. Now, look at these prisoners. Who is more likely to escape? Huh, gotcha. Neither of them. The one on the right will be stopped by the prison guard, while the one on the left will end up face to face with these pretty unfriendly dogs. How about these girls? Which one lacks common sense? That was another tricky question. Both of them aren't the brightest bulbs in the chandelier. The one on the left is going to post a photo of her credit card on her social media. And the one on the right is going to share the details of her ID and plane ticket with her followers. That's incredibly unsafe.
Oh my God!
It was the first day of school when the principal's wallet went missing. There were 3 suspects: the gardener, the math teacher, and the coach.
Oh no!
Here's what they said. The gardener was mowing the front lawn. The math teacher was checking the surprise test he'd given his students. And the coach was meeting new people who wanted to join the school's soccer team. Who took the wallet? It was the math teacher. No one gives surprise tests on the first day of school. Look at these women. Can you figure out which one isn't pregnant? It's the woman on the right. Her belly is strangely shaped, and something seems to be moving under her clothes. Ugh, creepy. One day, the emperor asked his general what he should choose if he was offered either justice or a lot of gold. "I'd choose the gold," the general answered without hesitation. The emperor was taken aback.
Oh.
"I would have been disappointed even if this was the choice of a servant," the emperor said. "But coming from you, it's not only disappointing but also shocking and sad." But the general justified his answer to the enraged and hurt emperor without a problem. What did he say? He said that people asked for what they didn't have. "Under your majesty's rule," he then added, "justice is available to everybody. But I am a spendthrift and always short of money. That's why I said I would choose the gold." The answer pleased the emperor, and his respect for the general was restored. The police arrived at a ski resort early in the morning. At night, someone attacked the manager of the hotel, and he was taken to a hospital, still unconscious. The police suspected 3 people: Laura, James, and Arthur, who had arrived the day before. The officers inspected their rooms, and here's what they found. Look at these things attentively and try to understand who attacked the manager. It was Arthur. Look, he doesn't have any warm clothing, which means he didn't come for skiing.
Oh no!
Allison is a big boss in an international company. One day, she's hurrying to an important meeting when she notices the documents she needs haven't been printed out, but she's asked at least 3 of her subordinates to do it. Ian says he's just returned from the supermarket because they've run out of coffee beans. Robert claims he's been terribly busy drafting a new contract. And Alice answers she's been in the kitchen preparing snacks and making coffee for the meeting. Who's actually forgotten about the task and is making up excuses at the last moment? It's Alice. There's no coffee in the office. Then how could she make it? Rich businessman Mr. Hudson had a serious disease and was staying at the best hospital in the city. He was treated with pills invented by a scientist working in that hospital. Mr. Hudson was feeling better and was getting ready to be discharged. But then, one morning, he was found in critical condition. The police had 4 suspects: the cleaner, the businessman's nurse, his assistant, and the scientist. The cleaner said that Mr. Hudson liked when his room was tidy, so she came every day to clean it. The nurse said that she gave Mr. Hudson's injections every morning, and they had even become friends. The scientist was very upset.
His disease was complicated, but we've made such progress. And today, this happened.
And the assistant answered that her boss asked her to bring his favorite sweets every day. And she did just that. Can you figure out who caused the worsening of Mr. Hudson's condition? It was the nurse. Mr. Hudson was treated with special pills. What injections is she talking about?
What?
Harrison was walking home when someone threw something at him and knocked the guy out. When he came round, he found himself in a room with 4 doors and a tiny window. Harrison opened the window, but it was too small for him to squeeze through. Suddenly, the guy spotted a piece of paper lying on the floor. It was a note that said, "Only one door leads outside. The other 3 doors don't lead anywhere. You can try to open just one door and only once. If you don't succeed, all of them will be locked forever." Harrison thought for a while and made the right choice.
Yeah.
How did he figure out which door was the one he needed? He opened the window. This created a draft. The guy checked the keyholes and felt some cool air coming from one of them. It was the door to freedom. Detective Sheldon Copper was resting at a beach resort when an unpleasant accident happened there. Someone pushed elderly Mrs. Stevenson into the swimming pool when there was no one around. But this someone didn't know the lady was once the best swimmer at her university, and she never stopped practicing. So it wasn't difficult for her to cross the swimming pool and get out of it at the other side. Sheldon asked the lady if she had seen the attacker. She didn't, but she was sure it was someone who knew she'd just received a huge inheritance. The detective needed to talk to 3 people. They were Mrs. Stevenson's son, Terry, her granddaughter, Gloria, and her niece, Judy. Terry said, "These days, I've been very busy. Something urgent came up at work. I don't even have time to leave my room to go for breakfast or dinner." Gloria asked Sheldon to keep her secret. She was seeing a waiter she had met at a beach cafe. If her relatives found out, they would be furious. And Judy told Sheldon she'd taken a car to go shopping in the city center. Who's lying? Terry. The man looks sunburned. But how can it be if he hasn't left his room for days? Jaden bought a beautiful ring for his girlfriend. He wanted to propose to her at the weekend. He left the ring on his desk at home and went to work. But when he got back in the evening, he didn't find the ring. Only his 3 sisters were at home that day, and none of them liked his girlfriend. He went to question each of them. Mia was in her room. She said she'd spent the whole day there painting the walls. Emily was in the kitchen. She answered that she'd been cooking a birthday cake for her friend. And the youngest, Nora, was in the garden. She said she'd been planting roses. It didn't take Jaden long to figure out who had taken the ring. Do you know who it was? It was Nora. She looks too tidy for a person who was supposedly spending the entire day in the garden.
What?
Plus, she doesn't have any gardening tools. The best player of Julian's volleyball team disappeared right before the game. Julian's main suspects were 3 players from the rival team. Jackson said, "I've just returned from the gym. I was warming up before the competition." Leo had to pick up his wife and daughter from the hospital, and Ryan claimed he'd fractured his leg. And the team doctor was giving him a massage. Who's behind the player's disappearance? It's Ryan. Getting a massage when your leg is broken? Really? Can you figure out the answer to this rebus riddle? The answer is summary.
Brennan and Rachel are 2 archaeologists working on a digging site in the desert. One day,
they came across a cursed artifact. Once they touched it, they magically got teleported into a room with no doors and no windows. How can they escape? Now, there are 3 signs that suggest they can escape through that wall. The first one is, if you take a closer look at it, you'll notice that the bricks at the center are slightly dislocated. The second one is, there's a wind coming from the direction of the dislocated bricks. You can tell it by looking at Brendan and Rachel shifting clothes. And the third one is, there's also a faint light coming from between the dislocated bricks. So, that can only mean there is actually nothing holding them together. They can just push the bricks and create a hole in the wall. Unfortunately, Brendan and Rachel found themselves inside another room. Unlike the previous, this one was very large, and there were 10 identical-looking ancient statues in it. But take a look at the scene. Do you notice something strange? This statue's eyes are following Brendan and Rachel. It's alive. Once Brendan and Rachel realized the moving statue, it started speaking. "How dare you enter the chamber where I am resting with my brave warriors? I will turn a blind eye to your disrespect and will let you go only if you answer my question correctly. If you can't, I will turn both of you to stone. I am light as a feather, yet the strongest man can't hold me for much more than a minute. What am I?" The correct answer is breath. Anna wanted to buy a van to travel the country. She went to the van fair to pick one. There were 3 vans she could afford. Take a look at each of them. Which one should she buy? Did the wooden flooring of the first van catch your attention? It's all scratched and blistered, so this one is a pass. Now let's check the second one. It seems like something is missing. It has no stove. How is she going to be able to cook? It's better she does not waste her money on this one either, so she should buy the third one. David went to the grocery store to buy some fresh fruits and vegetables. At the checkout, he realized that he had forgotten his wallet back home. It was closing time at the store, so there was no time to go home, grab his wallet, and come back to pay. The store manager said, "I'll let you get all the food for free if you can answer my riddle correctly. What has a heart that doesn't beat?" The answer is an artichoke. Jamie was riding his bike when he came across a junction. The first road was leading to a forest where it was raining acid all the time. The second road was leading to a pitch-black tunnel where nobody could see where they were going. And the third road was leading to a highway where it was so hot that even the concrete road was melting. Which one should he choose? Jamie should pick the second road because his bicycle has a headlight attachment here, so he can actually see where he's going. Florence was a contestant at the Who Wants to Be a Billionaire game show. She only had one question left to win $1 billion, and it was this. What starts with an E, ends with an E, but only contains one letter? But she couldn't figure out the answer, so she used her phone-a-friend lifeline and called you. Can you help her out? The answer is an envelope. The Rodriguez family went on vacation to a remote cabin in the woods. They brought a large supply of food with them, including several cans of soup. However, when it was time to open a can and start preparing the dinner, they realized they didn't have a can opener. Yet still, Mr. Rodriguez was able to open it. How did he do it? He used this rock on the counter to smash the top of the can. Yes, the rock was a can opener. Mrs. Rosie was knitting a sweater in front of the fireplace on one snowy winter night. Suddenly, somebody threw a snowball at her window, which caused the glass to shatter to pieces. Mrs. Rosie immediately could tell this was one of those 3 mischievous kids who lived in the neighborhood. They were brothers with the names of Robert McDuffie, Henry McDuffie, and Mark McDuffie. The next day, a paper note was left on Mrs. Rosie's doorstep. It had this cryptic message written on it. ? McDuffie. He threw the snowball. After reading it, Mrs. Rosie could immediately tell which McDuffie brother threw the snowball. Can you? The brother responsible for the broken window was Mark McDuffie. The symbol, ? is called a, question mark. Now the meaning of the message is clear as day, right? ? McDuffie. He threw the snowball. Now the question is, who threw Mark McDuffie under the bus? Ratted him out? Sandra was going to a monster-themed costume party. When she arrived at the venue, she greeted 3 people, but 2 of them were actually real monsters, and only one of them was a human. Can you tell who? The first guy is a real human because he is wearing a mask. You can see the ribbon of it tied behind his head. Sophia was an extra who acted in the season's most anticipated movie. She was invited to the premiere among the other cast members and crew. She wanted to look her best for the event and decided to hire a professional makeup artist to do her makeup. She found 3 makeup artists on social media to choose from. Take a look at their profiles. Which one should Sophia choose? Well, the makeup the first makeup artist is wearing is not so flattering. How is she going to do Sophia's makeup if her own looks that unprofessional? And did you see that the social media bio of the second makeup artist says only bridal makeup? So, the best option is the third makeup artist. Princess Madeline was going to have a crowning ceremony, and all kinds of important people were invited. However, on the day of the ceremony, her newly crafted royal crown got stolen from the vault. The head royal guard examined the security footage and boiled down the suspects to 3. When he questioned them, the first suspect said she had just arrived at the palace at the time the crown was stolen, so she didn't do it. The second suspect said she had spilled a drink on her dress and went back home to change it, so she didn't do it. And the third suspect said even if she was a thief, she would not be interested in stealing a crown made of emeralds. Who do you think did it? Now remember, the crown is newly crafted, so nobody has seen it yet, and there is no way anyone could know what gemstones it is made of. So it's the third lady who stole it. Simon was going to propose to his longtime girlfriend. He wanted the ring to be special, so he engraved his and his girlfriend's initials along with a heart shape inside the ring. However, when his girlfriend saw it, she immediately broke up with him. Can you tell why? Do you see the necklace Simon's girlfriend is wearing? It says Beatrice on the pendant, so that must be her name. But the engraving inside the ring says S loves D. This probably means Simon is cheating on her with another girl whose name starts with D, and he mixed the names up. Simon says, find somebody else. Anthony was going to start working at his dream company. To celebrate the good news, his dad wanted to get him a new luxury watch as a good luck gift. He went to the store to pick one. The salesman showed him 3 different watches. Which one should he buy? Do you see the tiny scratches the second watch has? That must be a returned product, so it's a pass. And the third watch here shows the time wrong. The store clock on the wall says it's 5 p.m., but the watch says it's 4:40 p.m., so it is running behind. Better not risk spending all that money on a malfunctioning watch. So he should buy the first one. Nancy was hiking in the woods. She lost track of time and couldn't find her way back to her car in the darkness. In the distance, she saw a small cottage with lights coming from the windows. She headed there to ask for help. When she knocked on the door, a wizard greeted her and said he would help her only if she could guess what animal his familiar was. Can you help Nancy figure it out? Take a look at the magic staff the wizard is holding. The head of it is raven-shaped, so his familiar must be a raven. Amir's favorite band was in town to give a concert. After it ended, Amir rushed backstage to catch the band members before they left and asked for an autograph. But the security guard stopped him. After Amir begged him and told him this was his biggest dream, the security guard said, "I will let you meet the members if only you answer my riddle correctly. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?" Come on, the security guy. Anyway, do you know the answer? The correct answer is the letter M. Penny's new favorite hobby was bird watching. She was trying to observe all the birds in her region and take notes about them. One day, she saw a rare species of bird and wanted to learn everything she could about it. Can you help her figure out which of these trees in the forest is this bird's home? Did you see the leaf that was stuck among the wing feathers of the bird? Only this tree has the same kind of leaves, so it must be where the bird's nest is located. Sally had a history exam the next day, but she had not been attending any of the classes, so she didn't have any notes to help her study. Nellie, on the other hand, was a very hard-working student who had never missed a single class. When Sally asked Nellie if she could borrow her class notes, Nellie said, "I will only allow that if you answer my riddle correctly. What has 4 letters, sometimes 9 letters, but never has 5 letters? Can you answer it?" Well, the answers are hidden in the question this time. This riddle isn't describing something, it's actually telling you how many letters each word has. The word what contains 4 letters, the word sometimes contains 9 letters, and the word never contains 5 letters. Since Sally was a lazy student who didn't study, she couldn't answer the riddle and flunked the exam. She was grounded to her home after school for a month. And Nellie ended up with Sally's boyfriend Pete, who everyone said could have done better than old Sally. And now you know the rest of the story.